How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm great. I'm doing great. What's up?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Firstly, thank you very much.
Stamina. Yo, I hear that song in years.
Really?
That's
Me neither. I was just doing a little retro session until he came along, because when you just catch up apps and you just say, well, let me just play some tune from back in the day. Ramesses Brown, that was a big one for him way back in the day.
Big artist. Very, very big artist.
It's going to be quite difficult talking to, not difficult, it's going to be interesting talking to you because you wear so many hats. And we come from, you're slightly younger than me, but we come from a similar era. And so it's going to be very, very interesting. Let's get into it. Let's kick off with the first song, and then we'll talk to Dawg E Slaughter's in the building, man.
Carnival.
Back to Basics is the name of the album.
Juvie.
Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2, 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2, 2. Let me see my people. People. Let me see my people. People. Ready for the mass on the road. 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 Back up your bumper. Back up your bumper. Back up your bumper. Back up your bumper. Bend down. And give the man action, wind down, control your reaction, the whole thing, and not just a fraction, climax, pure satisfaction. Hey girl, when you whine, roll it like a ball of twine, tick on top of your behind, blowing everybody mind, looking good, oh so fine, watch how she just to the line, walking up, that waistline, one more time, hey, ready for the mass on the road, 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 move up your waistline, roll it. Move up your waistline, roll it. Move up your waistline, roll it. Move up your waistline, roll it.
You're in tune to Martin J.
It's from the album Jam, Back to Basics. It's Dawg E Slaughter's fourth album, and the name of this song is Jab Nation. Dawg E Slaughter, first of all, tell us, what was the idea behind the Back to Basics album? When did you come up with the concept? What was the idea? No, we're gone again. It's not me. I've lost your microphone. No. I know where it is. Yeah. I've been over precautious there. My bad. I'll put him on mute. Sorry. Right. I saw the lighter come out, so I said, let me put him on mute just in case. So talk to us about the album. What the concept and why you wanted to make it.
Well, Back to Basic being my fourth album, I had to go back to the foundation of things, the groundation of things, because I felt as though, one, I was ahead of my time in terms of experimenting with music and flows, and even me as a person. And I had to grow now to be able to reintroduce myself back to a younger generation, because if you notice, most of the formulas that I use now haven't been used before, even by me. So if you listen to Ready for the Mass on the Road, Ready for the Mass, I hear the voice of some Trini man say, same thing. When you hear what the girl them want, pokey, this girl want me wine, and rub to me spine, juke, same formula. You understand? And back then, our era used to jam hearted. This era now, right, know of Dawgie. They know about his music, but remember, they were babies back in the days. So I had to go back to basic with the reintroduction. It made perfect sense, bro. It made perfect sense. Because if you watch my track record in soca music from since 2000 to 2009, before I took the little hiatus and I stepped back, because even that move, people didn't really understand. But real industry people understood that move. Example, of course, you know Buju Banton. Of course, you know Capleton. When Buju and Capleton topped their career singing smart and dancehall and thing. They went, go up in the hills, grow some locks, came back, but they took a step back from the game to reassess where they wanted to go. It just made all the sense, bro. It made all the sense. And when I came back now,
hold on, pause, because you're going real fast here. You just like on some kind of motorbike here. Let me play some tune as well, please. Thanks. Okay, good. Back to Basics, the album. We're going to talk about it. Dawg E Slaughter is in the building. Tell everybody we're here on Bakahnal Radio.
Are you ready to go home? No. Are you ready to leave this party? Are you feeling tired? No. Are you feeling kind of weary, and bad? Festival time in Tobago and Trinidad. Everything up in the air, bare even flag. People having a fun time and some behaving mad. And all I hear is ole, 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 ole.
Oh Lord!
Ole, it's mass they want to play. Ole, ole, ole. Lela lela ding 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 bang 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 bang. Lela lela ding 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 bang 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 bang. Lela lela ding 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 bang 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 bang. Heading to the fete now. The all-inclusive party. Meeting with the girls now. And by the bar is where you can find the head on bad. Bakahnal time in Tobago and Trinidad. Everything up in the air, bare even flag. Just having a nice time and some behaving mad. And all I hear is ole, 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 ole. The last Wednesday, ole. The people talk one day. They're ready for the bad times now. Show me the Mexican way. Show me the Trinidad way. Everyone's out the way. Jump up and misbehave. Show me the Mexican way. Show me the Trinidad way. Everyone's out the way. Jump up and misbehave. Keeping on the road now.
The name of the song is Matador Ole. The name of the artist is Dawg E Slaughter.
And pretty girls them whining.
And the name of the album is Back to Basics. It's available on all major platforms.
Everything up in the air.
I purchased it on iTunes Music today for $7.99. The entire album. Now some of you be like, yeah, right, you did. No, I did. Even though I have the whole album already, Slaughter sent me the album on WhatsApp a while ago. But I felt it was necessary to show my support to the artist. You know what I mean? Working hard, restricted on how to earn money, yet still producing. The way that he's approached this album has just been amazing. The way that he's approached it within the industry. Speaking to people, he's taking his time. I said to him about 6 weeks ago, come. He said, no, King, let's take our time. Let's do this properly. You know, that was the words of the wise man, Dawg E Slaughter. And here we are 6 weeks later. Perfect timing. The album's just come out. Back to Basics. Make sure that you check it out. Now, Slaughter, you began as a DJ. Excalibur Sound System came to fruition in the late 1990s, and it was part of a huge movement. Excalibur, Jugglers, a whole host of sound systems that had DJs that then went on to become very, very successful radio personalities. They were the kind of birth of the new era of radio DJs, and you were part of that to a degree. Because of your commitments, you weren't able to be as consistent as you would have liked to be, but God has a path for everybody, and you've taken yours. Tell us a little bit about your history from Excalibur coming all the way through.
Martin, again, some clipping from you. So I think this is where we should move over to the phone call, so it could run through there, just so we wouldn't have to log out or anything. I think just take it in front before you take us.
Versus grind. versus Bakahnal. She want a wine and a feeling to grind. She want a wine and a feeling to grind. She want to move as a roll she behind. I say, girl, let me do the two same time. She want a wine and a feeling to grind. She want me wine and a feeling to grind. She want to roll up and move she behind. I say, girl, let me do the two. Girl, let me privilege. We head nice, no chaser. Just give me eyes. We ain't bad. We jamming from night time till the morning.
Nice.
Hey, girl, let me see you bounce up the thing and push back the thing and throw it back. Oh, girl, let me see you bubble the thing and rock up the thing, just fling it back. Because all the man and them want you. You do just what you want to. You want to do this, I want to do that. Who's to say that we can't do? She want to wine and a feeling to grind. She want to wine and to roll she behind. She want to act like she time is miss. But I say, girl, let me do the two same time.
Okay, this song is Privilege.
She want to take a
Dawg E Slaughter from the album Back to Basics. I've got him on the phone now.
Hey, girl, you know.
I'm glad that we kind of had a test run this afternoon. So, you know, me and it was Doggy was he was interviewing me. All the questions were fired at me. So, Martin J, let me ask you this. And Martin J, let me ask you that. And the things that we worked out when we had that conversation was unreal. So what I was asking you, Slaughter, is take us back to the Excalibur days when you began.
All right, well, Excalibur never stopped. So let me first mention that. We still do shows consecutively. As a matter of fact, our last event before the pandemic was actually the Red Bull Culture Clash in Jamaica. Red Bull Culture Clash. So we still are very much active. I never stopped doing that, even though it was in the earlier days that I should stop DJing and focus on singing. When I started to do shows as an artist, I was still a radio announcer on 96.1 WFM, but I couldn't commit to that level of consistency because I was overbooked, quite honestly, yeah. And when I came back, because I'm a love for radio, Red wanted to work with me, and I was traveling, and I explained to them that I wouldn't be able to commit, and they still wanted it. And I just asked them, okay, so I'll come on, follow it, and build it. And if things are put in place the correct way, then we will, you know what I mean? We will revise the agreement. And upon when the agreement came to an end, it didn't make sense for me to renew it because I was doing way too much. I was traveling the world. I was actually, aside from being the first songman, to the first, not DJ, the first sound man. So Chinese Roger was a DJ too. This was a DJ. Starchild was a DJ. They were singing already. But I was the first song man, the first selector from Trinidad to start singing, which kind of opened up the door for a lot of what you're seeing now going on in music from Trinidad. And also, I was one of the first DJs from Trinidad to step out of the typical soca arena, and I started running hard with Rodigan and Stone Love and Bass of the Sea and in the Sound Clash places, and then I started to do international shows with the Renaissance and the Black Chinese and the Copper Shot and the this and that from Trinidad as a Trini. And when I realized that I was heavily into the dance hall circuits, that's when I started piggybacking soca. Example, my first time being in Japan, when I went, it was dancehall influence. It was Jamaica was everywhere. And I piggybacked on that, being a selector, and started to break soca records inside all of these places. You know what I mean? These are things that people don't know because I usually stay very humble. I believe that work should always speak. Let people watch at it here some now and be like, you know, hey, he do this. I say, yeah, that's Doggy. You know, on the topic of, you know, talking about these things, because this is the perfect platform for it. I was one of the first people when I went to St. Vincent to spearhead a show. I do real things that people don't know about. You know. When I went to St. Vincent, I met a man by the name of Kubiachi, who asked me to let his artist come on the stage when I was there. And that artist today is Skinny Fabulous. A lot of people wouldn't know that. But who know about Hot 97 show with Luke in St. Vincent and know when I brought Skinny Fabulous on stage? Who know when I went to Barbados, we would always endorse Father Fox, even before he started singing. You understand? So, who knows that Slaughter took Walshy Killer at the time, who is now Walshy Fire Major Lazer, and placed him on Mix 96 in Miami when he used to work overnight for White Boy Dave and Marlon and I was like, yo, I believe in this man here. He needs to be here. And then he started to play my song for a bit just to get his foot inside. And after that, he went on to mainstream radio. And then he was taken up by Black Chinese. And then later on, Major Lazer. You see? So there is a lot of work. When I went to Jamaica at that time, when I was frequenting, like a lot, we used to go for ATI weekend and Jokers Wild Juve. At that time, they were huge. And Jamaica, the DJs they kept playing the same 20 songs over and over. Everybody take a jump right now. It's kind of onion fly, wine and all of that. We was like, hey, change up. There's a lot more. And I started to teach some of them, and some of them started to come to Trinidad for Carnival. Richie Ross is one of them. He's very big in Jamaica now. Smoke from Renaissance. So we've been putting in new work. Now, all these avenues I could have easily used and push my stuff. As a matter of fact, friends used to get vexed, man, say, yo, you on this platform, why you don't push it? And I say, this is bigger than me, bigger than you. This is music. Music is supposed to reach people and do things. You can't use music for self. Can't use it for self.
Dawg E Slaughter, I'm going to tell you this, is a very, very deep brother, you know, and I don't say that lightly. When I got to know him in the early 2000s and have reconnected with him, you know, some 20 years later, and the conversations that we've had, he's just someone that's gone through so much in the correct channel that people just, you know, when you hear him talk, when you hear his music, you realize that's how he was able to arrive there, and the way that he's promoting this album. You know, he's done a lot of studying. This is no fly-by-night artist here. This is someone that's gone through the ranks, you know, and have a look. This is one of my
ranks too.
If you don't take licks, you would never grow, you know. You would never grow. Sometimes them licks is necessary. I've taken some licks in my career as well, so I know exactly. Probably not as many as you, but this is one of my favorite songs from the album.
Yo 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 yo, yo 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 yo, yo 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 yo, yo 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 yo.
This is called Real Old Mass.
Listen up. Trini people, we like Ramache. It's Mass we come to play. Carnival Monday and the Tuesday. It's Mass we come to play. See me getting stink all in a Juve. It's Mass we come to play. I get a Tabanka Ash Wednesday. It's Mass we come to play. See the girl them inna the carnival. Kado tell me, look at pretty girl. All of the woman in the Bakahnal, in the festival. Oh yo, right now we feeling irate. Matrix, pass me the energy. Rudy has some punching and Johnny. Everybody, what we say? Them can't fit like we. No, them can't rave like we. No, take off the shirt like we. Can get on mad in the thing like we. No, can't jump harder than we. No, can't rock bumper like we. No, when everybody see we, them just want to be around we. When I tell them, Tobago people like Ramache. It's Mass we come to play. Carnival Monday, even Tuesday. It's Mass we come to play. Sipping from a posy in a Juve. It's Mass we come to play. I get out of Banka Ash Wednesday. It's Mass we come to play. You spin your bumper like a propeller. Sing it on a rhythm or even a cappella. This was touching in your soul and make you feel better. This rhythm here is murder, murder. Feel the rhythm coming through the bass and the guitar. Big up all my chocolate and the vanilla. Pocket full of money, even up in the cigar. Buy young the man, no chaser. Oh, them can't fit like we. No, them can't rave like we. No, take off the shirt like we. Can get on mad in the thing like we. No, can't jump harder than we. No, can't.
The name of the song is Real Old Mass. The name of the artist, Dawg E Slaughter. The name of the album, Back to Basics. Remember that name. Get your copy of the album, all right? Dawg E Slaughter's gone back to basics, and you are getting some quality music.
Listen to
the lyrics that are...
Ash Wednesday. It's mass we come to play.
Have you ever been on an impromptu lime in Trinidad? You weren't planning to do it. I can give you an example. I went to a wedding and my wife's cousins were in the bar next door. I ended up going to the bar next door where lime started. And it never ended. We just continued liming. That was my first lime with them, and the amount of drinks that we bought from the bar, my mother-in-law was like, well, boy, you come to a wedding or you come to drink? I said, mother-in-law, I come to drink at a wedding. That is the way to do it. Real old Mouse, Dawg E Slaughter, my special guest on the Drivetime Jam. He's here, and it's an honor to have him. We're talking about the album. If people want to purchase the album, like I said, it's on available on all major platforms. They can stream it as well, can't they? You made it available in a lot of places. Name some of the places that they can get it.
Everywhere, on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. They can also get a link on my Instagram page, The Real Dawg E Slaughter, THE.
We have it.
Yo.
Mars is in the
guys, just hit this up. The Real Dawg E Slaughter. The Real Dawg E Slaughter. And it's right there, yeah? So I've been practicing my Cockney now.
You have been. Tell us about this song, Britso, featuring Black Star.
Oh, well, Britso was actually a project that came from the French West Indies for me. And when they brought the project, I just kept hearing that flow because I was, trying to formulate that for a minute now. But when I heard the beat, I was like, yo, this beat sound kind of Afro soca, kind of UK-ish. So I was like, step up in the place, man, bad, draped in my Trinidad flag, So I was like, yo, I recording this. I don't care. I'm not even limiting myself. I want to take all the box because I do music, not a particular music. I do music. So when I put it out there, as soon as it was released, like within 2 months, it was picked up by the Real Housewives of Atlanta. So I was like, what? I remember the publisher calling me and telling me that. I was like, yo, all clear, who God bless, no man Chris. Let's just see where it ends up. And the song is a song that you reach around the world, boy.
Bloody hell, man. Black Star. Dawg E Slaughter. Brilliant.
Hey, Martin, pull up that one,
Step up in the place, man, padding up. That flagging up. See the soca boy, them don't violate me, yeah? You get tagging on. Girl say she think that I'm complex. Yet said I'm peaking her interest. Man go padding is the best flex. After the road, you know what states. Pull it up. Look, bloody hell, man. Black Star. Bakahnal Radio. Brilliant. Step up in the place, man, padding up. Draped in my Trinidad flagging up. See the soca boy, them don't violate me, yeah? You get tagging on. Girl say she think that I'm complex. Yet said I'm peaking her interest. Man go padding is the best flex. After the road, you know what state. Granny now. 4, 5, 6 rubber panning now. Got me in the mix like panning now. If a blueprint, we got the panning now. Granny now. When you see me, we put up on no hand now. Like carnival out and padding now. If a blueprint, we got the panning now.
Man's hot like the sun in the Caribbean. You see them colors there, West Indian. Jump from Trinidad straight to Tobago, then London, Amphibian. Bubble everything now. If you bubble, put a ring on your finger. Straight settings, no linger. You good for me, like my ringer.
Panning now. Every time we reach straight panning now. Got me in the mix like panning now. If the blueprint, we got the panning now. When you see we give up all the rocking now. Like carnival out and padding now. If a blueprint, we got the panning now. Brilliant.
I didn't realize it had thrown in there. I apologize, people.
Grenada.
I saw that they had an explicit version on the album, but it wasn't this song. We apologize. Dawg E Slaughter, Martin J, apologize. Shouldn't be hearing that on Good Friday. I apologize. Yeah. I apologize. You know, this is a good point for me to talk about artists that go in the studio and they use these words that we can't play on the radio. Do they wonder how difficult it is for the radio DJs?
Boy, listen, I was talking to this particular individual from Canada on an interview the other day, and he actually reposted his stuff with this dude that I believe you know by the name of The Enforcers, and he asked me a particular question, and he was like, Slaughter, like, why is it that soca music always has the expression? And they use the same topics all the time. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And he was like, mainly when you hear soca, you think about happy and you think about jump and wine and wave and rum and mass. And like, it seems like everything is just so, repetitive.
Enclosed.
And I was like, well, that's a bit different for me because like when I have to express, I sing on, I try to step out of the confinements of what is usually done within soca, which allowed me to start moving towards the mindset of my approach. This is why when people ask me now, what do you sing? Do you sing traditional soca, calypso? I say, hey, I sing music. When I go into the booth, I do music. So if everyone is here, I tend to go over to this side and do something else. You know what I mean? I love doing stuff that are considered unorthodox as well. It makes me different, and my tone is different. So I use tones to be able to achieve what I want to achieve in music. It's a science that I found through trial and error for many years. Many years. So if you notice some of my early songs, they were also like that. Like the song "It's Not Easy," the sound soca in my veins, soca in my blood, yet it's called Spread the Love for a reason. Yeah. When you listen to Pokey, when you listen to What Don't Kill You Make You Stronger, and all of these things, these are trample, perfect example, from some of my past catalog. So when I looked at it now, I was like, you know what, I'm going to take a whole different approach. I'm going to sing about the things that people usually don't sing about, and I'm just going to present it because you never know. Music has a funny way of touching someone that can be in any other part of the world, So I stopped limiting myself and I start thinking out the box,
Nice one. Well, thank you for answering that question. And again, just in case someone's listening, and we want to apologize. We overlooked. We both knew what song we were going to play.
That's my bad. I was supposed to send you the radio edit and the super radio edit. Sorry about that. That's my bad. I take full responsibility for that.
No worries. But we just like to apologize. Okay, so like I said to you earlier on, Slaughter and I had this conversation. And Slaughter was doing the questioning. So I'm going to give him the opportunity to ask me 3 questions about Martin J before I play one of my favorite songs from the album. So Slaughter, Go ahead. If you want to ask me a question, ask me a question. Go ahead.
All right. So the 3 questions is, how long have Martin J been in existence doing music as a professional DJ throughout where you are?
Okay, as Martin J, 30 years, September the 30th last year. So my 30th anniversary was September the 30th last year. I started in 1990 as Martin J. As Crazy MD, which is my name that I was before that, I was DJing for probably, I would say maybe 2.5 years before that.
All right, that's 1. Well done. I salute that.
Thank you.
Most DJs, when they start DJing, they tend to play variety and they start off doing one thing, and then because of passion, they would usually do this. Did you start playing everything and then narrowed it down to soca entirely, or did you start soca and from that time to now it is?
I started off playing rare groove and revival music when I was on pirate radio. So old soul music and old reggae music was my forte at the time. And I was given, I had a little gap in the market where I was invited to cover Smokey Joe's radio show. And I did that. And after that, my love for soca started to grow. And the rest is history. After that, from a radio perspective, there was a gap in the market. There was no one of a young age that was able to present soca music in the way that I felt that I could. And so I chose that as my avenue and I stuck with it. I never left it.
And the last thing I'm about to ask you is what I mentioned to you earlier. Now, ladies and gentlemen, who's listening right now? For many years, I've known Martin J. And I always thought that one Vinnie Ranks was his partner who used to call his brother, so I was quite shocked to know that. I hope Vinny don't cuss me for that. But I also thought, Martin, that you were Trini. I don't know why I thought you was a Trini. So today, finding out that, I was shocked, and I still believe that a lot of people actually think that you're Trini, Martin.
Okay, let me give this story. You're absolutely right. I'm not a Trinidadian. Our family is from Dominica. The majority of our family is from Dominica. My mother was born in St. Lucia, but she grew up in Dominica. Her father was Grenadian. So for us, we just examine the culture of Trinidad and Tobago so much that a lot of people just attach myself and and Vinny to Trinidad and Tobago because of the fact that it was a huge part of what we did as DJs. Now I remember in the mid 1990s, I went to go and visit a man who everyone knew as Steve from the Untouchables. He was a DJ that had started DJing over in England in the 60s. And he gave me access to some calypso music, Slaughter, from the 50s and the 60s. And just that record collection alone made me have a fondness for Lord Blakey to the point where I brought Lord Blakey over here. And that person is your grandfather.
I wanted them to hear that on this interview today, because what I didn't tell you when you mentioned that to me was, isn't that funny how life really unfolds?
Very funny. Very, very, very funny. When I found out that he was your I was like, what? I was like, no way. And he was a very integral part of the calypso music that I studied, the calypso music that I played, my friendship with Lord Blakey. I was the person that brought Lord Blakey over here with Dexter Khan. Every time I went to Trinidad, the first thing I would do, go to the tent, check Singing Sandra and check Lord Blakey. They were my two artists, man. And Hermit was a very, very, very integral part of that. Very integral part of that. So
my grandfather was a DJ. My grandfather was a DJ.
Yeah, he was one of the original DJs here in
I didn't even know that. I didn't know that until now. I didn't know that until now.
Steve from the Untouchables was one of the original calypso playing sound systems in the UK. That's not me fabricating that. That's the truth.
I did not even know that.
Well, there you go. There you go. Can I play another one of my favorite songs from your album?
Do your thing, man.
Tron.
Oh, God.
What's Conta would I say?
Let me go.
This one could cause divorce papers.
Would I say?
Tell me what you think that's wrong. What I say.
This girl want me wine and rupture me spine. Thinking that a fool, she must feel like a fool. I say, come here, girl. You is an animal. No is the carnival. Plus I like Bakahnal. But when you're whining, juke and juke, juke and juke.
You're listening to Bakahnal Radio.
Tron. Bakahnal Radio. What's Conta would I say?
Let me go.
What's Conta would I say?
Tell me what you think that's wrong. What I say.
This girl want me wine and rupture me spine. Thinking that I cool, she must feel like a fool. I say, come here, girl. You is an animal. No is the carnival. Plus I like Bakahnal. But when you're whining, juke and juke, juke and juke, juke and juke. When you're rolling, juke and juke, juke and juke, juke and juke. Don't hold it back. No, don't do me that. No, just make it nice. Yeah, and take me to paradise when you juke and juke, juke and juke, juke and juke. When you're rolling, juke and juke, juke and juke, juke and juke. I see baby girl, oh you look so nice. You look like Moby with two blocker eyes. She said, don't fool me, do not mama guy. Just hold on the waist and don't be so shy. But when you're whining, juke and juke, juke and juke, juke and juke. When you're rolling, juke and juke.
The name of the song, tribute, Juke and Juke. Dawg E Slaughter from his album Back to Basics.
Yeah, I like the beat.
He is my special guest on the Drivetime Jam.
Oh yeah, don't do it with no one.
And we're having a great conversation here. I want to remind you to get the album, right? Back to Basics.
You're rolling.
It's available on all major platforms.
I's a old man, driving old van, plant a whole land, and I'm looking for woman to settle when I juke and juke.
So we've established that he's a DJ.
And juke when you're rolling, juke.
We've established that he's a sound man.
Juke and juke.
You have heard
Don't hold it back.
that he's a person that if you want a jingle, Dawg E Slaughter is one of the best people to get a jingle from.
Yeah. Take me to
Listen,
when you juke.
his voice is just amazing.
Juke when you're rolling.
You can hear, you know what I
You're
mean?
in tune to Martin J.
He is, we haven't even talked about him studying music production and knowing his, I'll give you an example. Today when he came on, we were talking earlier on, and Slaughter had already analyzed what I was using to do in my little studio here. He said, boy, yeah, Sennheiser headphones on, boy, them is good headphones. He had already analyzed all of that within, he's quite a cautious person, eh? You have my room. Yeah. Slaughter, tell us very quickly about, you know, that studying part for you, because, you know, some people just see you as a jokes man, but you're very serious and you took it very seriously.
Of course. Well, in 2009, when I took my break to be a dad to my kids, I also started to travel the world a lot more, doing a lot more different aspects to music. Like you just mentioned Singing Sandra. I wrote for Singing Sandra already. I wrote for Denise Belfon already. And I always wanted to go back to school to learn the production aspect. And when I finally got the time and I had to push everything dealing with music back, because in university, they don't want to know who you are and your status. You come in there, you do the assignments, you do the studies, you do your work, you earn a good, grade point average, and you graduate. It's as simple as that. So when I went back, I couldn't really do everything else that I was doing before. I had to dedicate full-time dedication to go to school, yeah? And when I graduated in music technology at the University of Trinidad and Tobago, UTT Napa, my class project actually was the biggest rhythm of Carnival that year, which was the RR rhythm.
Yeah.
The RR rhythm was produced by me. That's the rhythm with Rocket and Blacks. We bring the fire when we come down, and M1 and Salty and Fayan and Bungie and all of them. And I didn't even sing on the rhythm, and that rhythm I built for me. And it was a blessing, because I have two things that I wanted to prove with that. I wanted to prove, one, that music has no expiry date. I still have my song coming on that rhythm when that time is right, because music speaks to me. Yeah? And then the following year, I produced that record that you just played, Juke and Juke. I wrote and sang it. Yeah? And in 2017 to 2021, we've been working on the album, selecting from too many songs, the best 12 songs to put on the album, because we wanted to touch different age brackets, different people with different formulas of music. So all of this here that you're seeing that we discussing today was actually in the making since after I took the step back in 2009. I knew exactly where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do. I had to step back. My spiritual journey had to be put into place the right way. I had to break down a lot of foundations to now build it up to where I wanted it to be, to achieve where I want, exactly, precisely what I wanted to achieve. You think it's easy to do 4 albums? I urge anybody to try it. I urge anybody to try it. That's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. But, you know, thanks to the Most High for being able to allow us to reach this fine music.
Absolutely. Tell us, what can we look forward to in the near future? Because I really want to predict the next 10 years because that's going to take too long. What can we look forward to from Dawg E Slaughter in the near future?
Well, also different genres of music. I'm wetting my feet in acting a little bit, so I want to do acting. Maybe one day I would like to have a novel done because my life is quite an interesting one, and you know, I'm pretty much sure that if that comes out and people see the journey and the story where I came from to where I'm headed, they would. Who knows? I might sell some books. I might sell some books. You never know. But with music, I never pre-music. I never try to predict music because music is something that is natural, and music can amaze you where it will reach. So sometimes our problem may be to try to predict what can happen in music. I just leave it like it happen, you know. I just leave it like it happen. But definitely, I think that I'm rooted in it. In my own unique way, I've made my mark, you know. And maybe one day when I die and they put the statue up, people will say that fella boy. Even now, like when people call him and say, "Hey, look, radio playing your back to back, boy, all them songs, boy, Doggy, Carnival, I Love You, and TikTok and Tramping and Pokey and West Indies and feeling nice on Carnival time and up and that and admire you and whoosh." I'd be like, that's just the most I had work, boy. Just give thanks. Give thanks.
Okay, you know what? It's been an absolute pleasure. I knew I wanted to do this interview from a long, long time ago when you said to me, partner, wait, Paul, breaks. I said, no problem. Now that we've done it, I am very, very, very thankful that we have done it. I wish you the very best. I urge everybody to go out there and get an album. This is a true soldier of the soca army, a true soldier of the soca army. Even though he don't want to be tagged with that soca tagline, I'm telling you that within our soca industry, he is a true soldier. There's a picture of me, him, and Bungie Garlin from Tudor Rose in 2002.
Tudor Rose, big up Tudor Rose. That was my first major show in London. And Tudor Rose is actually family on my grandmother's side because my grandmom is from Grenada, from Sutton. Shout out to every Grenada, shout out to every Islander in London right now.
There's another story about Tudor Rose, but we're not going to go there today. We're going to leave it alone. But there is another story in Tudor Rose. Dawg E Slaughter, thank you very much indeed. God bless you. And obviously, we're going to keep in touch and we're going to keep doing things together, man.
I'd like to say something before I leave. Thank you so much for taking the time to be able to do this. I am thankful to Choice FM. Thankful to all the people and them who have listened to my music from back then to now. Folks, please support me by getting my album. My album is on every music platform. And before I leave, that song, Admire You, is a song that I did for my mom. And I didn't want it to be too emotional, so I actually incorporated the elements of Carnival in it. Admire You is a very, very special song to my heart. So I'd like to dedicate that one for the ladies, everyone in London. Martin J, thank you so much. Vinny Rams, thank you so much.
This one is dedicated to all the females out there, all my independent ladies, my hardworking ladies, and my single mommies raising their kids all on their own. We just want y'all to know that we really appreciate and admire you for everything you've done.
Bakahnal Radio.
Let's go. Come on. Woo!
Martin J.
Request to my ladies. Well, this is a song that I have to dedicate to my ladies who hotter than fire, blazing through the wire. Shaniqua Kaya, I just love to admire. Come on, let's go. If you have a good fine girl, let me see you do that dance and drop it on the floor. And you know you're good flex, girl. Let the DJ really tune and bring it some more. But so it's white material. And the man them running new jungle love and had the new cereal. Everything we buy come shit from the store. Say, oh, I wanna make you wind up low. Yeah, yeah. Let me see your bend and touch your toe. Oh, you look good and that's for sure. Yeah, yeah. Give me some more. And why are you?